Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now, we've got a lot of stories to get through today. There's 3 or 4 that I definitely want to do. There's a couple more if I've got time to try and get them on. It's going to be a very busy afternoon for me. And so I would like to just crash on it and do the stories and get them up and out quickly. However, before I start, I would just like to take a moment to thank one of you wonderful, wonderful viewers. His name is Steve Small. Thank you very much, Steve. You know what you've done. I'm always extremely grateful for your generosity. It's not the first time you've done it, and I do appreciate it each and every time. And I'm glad that I produce what you enjoy to watch and to listen to if you're doing it, via sound. So deeply, deeply grateful. Thank you very much. Tips imaginary hat. There we go. Thank you. So we move on. So the first story today is all about Susan Aitkin. She, of course, is the leader of Glasgow City Council. Now, she is not a national figure. She's a nationalist figure, but she's not a national figure. She's the leader of a local council. But she does seem to have some absolutely massively narcissistic ego. She's overwhelmingly stuffed with a sense of her own self-importance. And she seems to believe that the good people of Glasgow need to pay for her to go to Dubai in November to be part of COP28. Now, she is not a diplomat. She's not a representative of the national government. She doesn't represent anyone that should be there. She's just this council, basically a town councillor who thinks that she should be there rubbing shoulders with the great and the good to try and boast and her own sense of self-importance. Now, we remember when Sturgeon, who at the time was the First Minister and went to, I think it was COP26 when it was it COP26 when it was in Glasgow, and she kept trying to go and talk to these very important people from all over the world, and ended up talking to their chauffeurs or to cooks and things like that, but hoping to show the people of Scotland, oh, look at me, I'm at COP26 and I'm very important. But in actual fact, she wasn't. She wasn't invited. She didn't have the representative passes and things. So she was outside the inner circle, talking to people who happened to be there for other reasons. Certainly none of them were in any way important, because Sturgeon ultimately wasn't important. She was just effectively a mayor of Scotland. And that's higher than Susan Aitkin. And yet Aitkin thinks that she needs to have many, many thousands of pounds spent sending her to Dubai. And of course it would take 2 plane seats because her arse is so big it won't fit in one. Quite literally true. The only other thing, of course, is she'd have to get upgraded to business class, where they do have those sufficiently wide seats for a sufficiently wide woman. Very broad in the beam is old Susan. But we'll take a look at this, see what's going on, and see why she thinks she's that important. And she isn't. Here goes. So SNP's Susan Aitkin provokes anger as Glasgow Council Chief wants to fly out to Dubai for COP28 at a cost of £1,600 to the taxpayer. Now, I've had a look at this, and the flight to Dubai from the UK is basically £250 if you go tourist class. You know, if you get the cheapest seat, it's £250, which means that she is not flying tourist class. She is definitely at £1,600 a ticket going business class. Why should she, at a time of cost of living crisis that they constantly go on, fly business class? Surely she should save the good taxpayers of Glasgow a lot of money and not go at all. She's got no reason to be there. Also, what's all this guff about the climate emergency? Why does she need to go? If there's such a climate emergency, she needs to keep that fat arse on the ground and not put excess weight onto a plane flying to Dubai. She can surely do it by a Zoom meeting, as indeed can all the others. Why not just have one big Zoom meeting? It's got to be a lot better for the environment than everyone flying out to Dubai. And why do they do it? They go to Dubai, they talk about the environment. How'd you get there? Jets. It's hypocritical bullshit all the way with this bunch, isn't it? Anyway, the Scottish Tories have said that Glasgow City Council will have serious questions to answer if it releases the funding to allow Susan Aitkin to head to the United Arab Emirates, where, of course, being a woman, she would have to cover up. and I'm not entirely sure that there's enough material in the shops in Dubai for that to happen. You'd need to hire Billy Smart's circus, wouldn't you? Glasgow City Council has serious questions to answer if it allows SNP leader Susan Aitkin to fly out to Dubai to attend COP28. The councillor has asked for approval to head out to the Middle East in December at an eye-watering cost of £1,600 to the taxpayer. And it'll be a lot more than that, because these things always are. That'll be the flight only, of course. She'll want to stay at a very, very expensive hotel, because staying anywhere normal is certainly nothing that she is going to do, because she's so important in her own mind. She already led a delegation all the way to Egypt for COP27, with the excuse given that the leaders of the previous year's host usually attend the follow-up event. But with COP26 being 2 years ago, queries have been raised about why cash-strapped local authorities should cough up to send her to Dubai. Now, I'm going to make a proposal. Please, let's release the money and let's send her to Dubai. But make it a one-way ticket. And tell the UAE, please, keep her. Please, please don't send her back. And then everybody wins. Well, obviously not the UAE. They're going to suffer like hell. But everyone in Scotland wins. Anyway, councillors have already voted to hike up council tax for struggling Glaswegians by 5%. And are also introducing costs to empty garden waste bins. Well, why don't you send Susan around? She'd probably have a little snuffle through. Plenty of stuff in there for her to forage and eat, isn't there? A number of workers at museums and across the city are also being let go, as the local authority needs to make millions of pounds in savings. And despite all this, politicians on the Council City Administration Committee are being asked to approve a 6-day jolly to the UAE, which taxpayers will be forced to pay for. A council report states that the purpose of the trip is to ensure that Glasgow is a place in global debate on the most pressing issues of the times and carry forward further legacy benefits from its COP26 host role. That is a bullshit argument. She just wants to get her fat arse on a plane and go on a taxpayer-funded jolly, enjoy the sights, go out and damage some camels by having a ride on them, go out, have a look at the dunes, eat expensive food in expensive hotels, and generally have a great time paid for by the poorest of society, who are having services cut, money taken from them with increases in council tax, and are being ill-served by a bunch of crooks sitting in the chamber in Glasgow. However, to be fair, it is the people of Glasgow who put the SNP there. So maybe the people who voted SNP may need to consider voting elsewhere next time if they're seeing their services cut, their children's education failing, their satisfaction in life is going down, all due to the policies of this party. And yet it can find enough money to send the lardy Aitkin all the way to Dubai for a little holiday so she can pretend that she's important. And she won't get to meet anyone important, because anyone important will have the right qualifications and will be in the big tent, not like Susan Aitkin. It is absolutely disgusting. The trip is costed at more than £1,600. They're saying it's £655 for a return flight to Dubai, which I've already said can be done for £250 Virgin. I've checked it out. An accommodation for 5 nights at £1,006. That's bullshit. You are not getting anywhere for £200 a night in Dubai. The event takes place in Dubai from November the 30th to December the 12th, with Miss Aitkin attending from December the 3rd until December the 6th. A council report states legacy activities with other cities and city networks have continued since the last 2 COP events and provide an important context for learning on issues such as climate, finance, supporting green economic development, and shared aims around ensuring a just transition takes place for workers, businesses and communities, none of which apparently can be done by sending a letter, an email, or even having a little Zoom meeting. It requires the presence of a massive woman who needs to go and quaff champagne, because you can in Dubai. It's not a dry state. So she'll be sitting there quaffing gallons of champagne as she snuffles through the bins of Dubai, looking for the leftovers to fulfill her need, to fill her empty belly, because her belly is always a rumbling, isn't it? The arrival of COP28 later this year, they said, represents a further opportunity to enhance these relationships. As in previous years, the host presidency has chosen themes for each day during COP, as detailed in the table below. We don't care. What we care about is why is that woman wanting to go to something for which she has no requirement to go, other than to fulfil her own desperate need to be and appear important. And she isn't. If she wants someone to talk to, maybe she should go out into the streets and talk to the people of Glasgow. That'll never happen, because they'll tell her exactly what they think of her. I'm coming up. It isn't a surprise, really, is it? I mean, politicians are like this all the time. They're all filled with this sense of self-importance. They're all egoists. They're all narcissistic. They all think that they are the best thing since sliced bread. But the actual fact is, they're not. They're normal people, but they're greedy people. A lot of them are psychopaths, you know. It's one of those things within jobs. If you go into a firm of accountants, guarantee 60% of them are somewhere on the spectrum, on the autism spectrum, because it's that kind of thing. Same with computer programmers, definitely on the spectrum somewhere, because it's that kind of job attracts that kind of brain, if you like. Whatever the brain is, and I've been an accountant. Trust me, I'm on that spectrum. I have Asperger's. It's not severe, but I'm aware of it, and I know I have to sometimes what's the word? Compensate. I have to compensate for it. And that's fine. It's fine, because that's what attracts people to that particular role. When you go into politics is filled with psychopaths. Psychopaths end up becoming leaders. You must see this. Everyone must see that the true psychopaths are the ones that get to the top. One only has to look throughout history at people who are absolute psychopaths who rise to the top and become national leaders. It's what happens. The psychopaths do it, and that's what drives people into politics. And I'm definitely not saying all of them, but what I mean is, politics attracts psychopaths, and they have this fulfilling need for power, and that's why things like this happen. And that's why we, as the people, must always stand up and say no. We won't let it happen. We say no. We cannot afford to let it happen, and we must tell the likes of Susan Aitkin, who's not a psychopath. She's not. She hasn't got the ability to be. She hasn't got the intelligence. She hasn't got the self-awareness, shall we say, to even try and cover it up. She's just a greedy, avaricious, probably self-loathing, but self-entitled, obnoxious toad. And she needs to be knocked back, and she needs to be told no, she's not going. And if she does go, then I think the people of Glasgow need to be up in arms and at that town, or at that City Hall, pitchforks and burning torches and demanding she resign. It's the only way it's going to happen. Show them that we are many, they are few, and we will win. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and don't let Susan Aitkin rummage through your bin. Bye.